Kanye was never good. Well, that's a wrong opinion. Let's listen to what he said. Well, we'll watch XQC talk about it first.
He does review. Most of the music he reviews are for people who talk about drugs and killing and violence, and not only do they talk about it, they have done it, right? They have actually done harmful things in real life, physically, to other people, and boast about it. And he reviews this shit willingly, right? And now that it's a guy that has a take that's dog shit, I understand how bad it can be, right? And how terrible to make it. But to really say, oh no, this is the one that's too far. He said this, he said that. Compared to people who have killed, I mean, come on, brother. That's just weird. That's just a bad take. Sorry, sir.
Point.
Also bald. But guys, I gotta pause what I'm saying that, and just pause it just to say bald. So I think that has validity in what I'm saying.
Especially his wife, who he has now replaced.
He does review. Most of the movies.
So what the fuck is this? Like, let me see if I can find it. Is it really that bad? This is the video? He seems very upset. He's mad. This album made him bald. He wasn't bald before this album. This is kind of what really set it off. So he's been bald for 23 hours. Jeez, he had long hair? Yeah, until this album came out. Now he's bald.
This is completely unreviewable trash, and here's why. Question, what is even the purpose of a music review in the first place? I can say, at least in terms of my own...
Well, I would say it would be about, like, what... It would be about if it's good. Like, if it sounds... Like, that would be, like, because if somebody asked me what's the reason for a music review, like, that would be the answer I would give.
Intent that when I do a music review, I hope to achieve a couple of things.
Okay.
One, give the viewer pause and cause them to think about why it is they do or don't like the piece of music or art that I'm doing an overview of.
Okay.
Or two, excite people to give the music that I'm talking about a try.
Yeah.
Those are the two things I want to do. Problem, neither of those goals are possible in any scenario that involves reviewing this album. Newsflash, since 2022, Kanye has made it his mission to go full-on anti-Semite, spouting insane...
Well, I mean, like, yeah, Kanye West alleges a Jewish doctor might have wanted him dead. And this is the clip, by the way, because I want to make sure you guys get to see it.
Drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people,
he doesn't want to, he doesn't,
doctor,
you know,
and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
So that's basically what he's talking about. That's what Anthony Fantano is referring to. Yeah. And so anyway, this is what's happened. And obviously Kanye had the whole Nazi character arc. That was interesting. You know, made a lot of videos about it. That was nice. And now that feels like that's kind of like over, and he's just making this music now. And he's not going to say it though.
Conspiracy theories talking about how he loves Hitler, and at some point I think he realized how much he fucked up with all of that, so now he has to own this total dumpster fire he's created and boast about how people think he's anti-Semitic now, because yeah, they do. Even if he does genuinely apologize and change his behavior past this point, his public image...
What does this have to do with the album? Like, if you don't like Kanye West, like, I get that. I cannot separate the art from the artist. How do you call yourself an art critic if you cannot do that? I don't think you can always separate the art from the artist, and I think that the art is informed by the artist, and understanding the artist helps you understand the art. But at the same time, like, you have to have the perspective that there are a lot of people that just, they listen to a song and they said, damn, that's good. And that's it, right? I mean, like, absolutely.
Forever altered by all of this. I mean, you platformed a booger-eating white supremacist.
I mean, I don't even know if this is all, like, I mean, how here's the reality, bro. Like, you think people not going to forget? Didn't Kanye West take a picture next to the Adidas CEO the other day? Aren't they talking about selling stuff with him again? It hasn't even been a whole year since he went on that Hitler shit. Like, ain't nobody give a fuck about this. Like, nobody cares. Like, people just want to listen to the music and buy the clothes. If they did, he would have never talked to him. Time is money, friend. Yeah, there it is. To be fair, he was mentally unwell. I bet he's still fucking crazy. What do you mean was? Bro, I've been listening to Kanye West ever since I was a freshman in high school. I remember whenever the fucking late graduation came out. What was that, 2004? Bro, dude's been nuts for 15 years.
Guys like this repping for you on a highway overpass.
Wow.
This is not a can of worms a guy like Kanye is capable of closing. Not without help from someone who is willing to tell him no. But he spent this same period of time pushing away anybody who could possibly do that at this point. Especially his wife, who he has now replaced with somebody who he just like kind of parades around like she's a naked body with no personality, opinion, or voice.
I also have to agree with Anthony here. I think the way he displays this girl he's with is weird. Obviously, they can express themselves however they want, but I can also have whatever opinion. I think it's fucking weird and off-putting. But yeah, it's weird. And so that's I agree with him about this. That's his right, though. This isn't the review? I mean, I feel like it's him talking about it, right? And I feel like this is pretty close.
That on some level I think he's weirdly proud of, as on the very lyrics to this record, he calls her just a reference, which is maybe one of the grossest and most dehumanizing things Kanye has said about a woman on any of his songs.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not even in the top 10. Like, his main song, bro, I will never forget the day that I am driving to Long John Silver's, and it was Lent, right? And so, like, that's whenever Catholics don't eat meat on Fridays. And so my mom and I would go to Long John Silver's and get fish that day. And my mom fucking hears Gold Digger come on the fucking radio, and she's like slapping her leg. She's like, this is fucking it's so good. I love this song. Out of fucking nowhere. And it was like a throwback play. Like, this is like in 2016 or something. And I was like, wait, what? She says, yeah, turn this shit up. I turn it up, and she's like, man, this is insane. And she goes, who does this? I said, Kanye West. She goes, no wonder Kim Kardashian fell in love with him. Like, bro, that was his first song. That was the first one.
And it's being directed.
It's all about girls being hoes. This is not even
about a woman on any of his songs, and it's being directed at his wife. So this trajectory Kanye has been on as of late has left him with an interesting mix of fans. One, hateful psychos that actually agree with some of the stuff that he's been saying and are actually in my Twitter mentions theorizing that I'm a Jew, and that's the reason I don't really like.
Oh, people theorize I'm a Jew too. Yeah. I've seen this on 4chan. I'm secretly a Jew. You're not? No, I'm not. Didn't you say you were German? That's the funny thing, isn't it? Kind of ironic. Because of all the other things to be.
Recent music. Two, anonymous nihilistic teenagers that don't really think anything he says or does has any greater consequence in the world, and are most like...
It doesn't matter. Like, he's just an artist. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, nobody's gonna give a fuck. Like, you think like people are gonna try to hold this guy accountable? Like, how are you gonna go and say like, didn't Playboy Cardi do a bunch of bad shit and that's why he doesn't do interviews? I mean, 21 Savage fucking scanned people on stream. And he makes all of his music about doing scam shit too. Like, I mean, Chris Brown, fucking R. Kelly. I mean, these people are trash, man. That's what it is. They're trash. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? We gonna act like Kanye West is any sort of like he's special? Like, is he a special kind of bad? Not really. I mean, because if I were to make a tier list, okay? Kanye West having some fucking mental breakdown episode thinking that he's Jesus and so he has to love Hitler is not as bad as killing somebody. I don't think so. I think killing somebody is worse. I do. Suge Knight killed a motherfucker? Well, that's the one that we know about. It's still pretty bad. That's stupid as fuck. Bro, like, I did a 3-hour video about what Kanye was saying being stupid. Like, everybody knows that's what my opinion on it is. But, like, what I'm saying is that, like, this is the problem I think that people have with this is the blatant hypocrisy. The blatant and obvious hypocrisy where you constantly review albums from all kinds of people that have questionable pasts. And some people that have committed felonies, that have done like actual harmful, malicious, bad things to other people, and in some cases maybe even killed them. But Kanye West doing this fucking that weird face mask, like Nazi shit, like this is what's over the line for you. Because this is the problem whenever people try to draw lines like this. Is that whenever you draw a line, everybody else goes and they say, well, why isn't this over the line? Why isn't that over the line? Because that's the issue. Because if he had just said, yeah, Kanye's a stupid asshole, well, then everybody'd be like, yep. Yep, yeah, we know. Well, anyway, over to the album. He reviewed Young Thug. You can kill someone, go to prison. Kanye can't go to prison for freedom of speech. Well, he could if he lived in certain countries, right? But, like, not in the U.S., no.
Bored and lonely and will just defend Kanye because watching him unravel is more entertaining than most things, and I guess brings some kind of meaning to their otherwise meaningless lives. And 3, cultish weirdos who parasocially obsess over him and everything he does. And
so these are the 3 types of Kanye West fans? What about the people that grew up listening to like 808s and Heartbreak or My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or The Life of Pablo, or if they're a bit older like me, late graduation, like fucking late registration, like graduation, like what about that? College Dropout, yeah, there it is. That's the one. And like 808's his best album. That's the one that came out whenever I was like a senior in high school, like first going into college. Like that's my Kanye album, like that I listened to the most. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that just like listening to the music. I bet if you asked a lot of people who really like Kanye West what they thought about him doing that thing, I bet if you went to, like, Walmart, most of the people wouldn't even know. Like, they probably wouldn't even know this happened. Or, like, they hear about it. They're like, oh, yeah, he wore that mask. Yeah, what was that? Oh, a Nazi thing? Oh, wow. Okay. And that's it. Yeah, they don't care. Like, their biggest problem in life is rent. It's not what Kanye West said last year.
Basically follow him to the ends of the earth. Keep in mind, these individuals have always been in his fan base to some degree, but prior they were at least mixed.
Get the fuck out of here. They're in everybody's fan base because they're on the internet, and if you're making content, they're in your fan base too. Like, you've got plenty of freaks that watch you, and it's not your fault. It's the same as me. I've got freaks that watch me, for sure. It's not your fault. You're not making them do this. It's just the way it is.
In with genuine hip-hop heads. Now, these 3 types of people, and there is overlap between them in Kanye's fan base, don't want to hear anything critical about him at all, ever. They've openly rejected any good faith effort I've made to make them aware of Kanye's downward spiral into Nazi-adjacent rhetoric and now imagery in the promotion of this record. The point is,
yeah, I mean, I think it's totally fine. I mean, like, Anthony's right. I think that the shit that Kanye said was fucking stupid. Like, obviously it was stupid. What are you even talking about? But, like, what does that have to do with anything else? Like, that doesn't have to do with the album, does it? I mean, because for a lot of people, it probably doesn't. I heard that, like, just recently, like, he was, like, #1 or something like that for, like, album sales or people that were listening to his music. Like he just got it back from like Taylor Swift or some shit. On Spotify? Can I find that on Spotify? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so you got Kanye West right here. 67 million monthly listeners. That is nuts, man. Like, a lot of these songs already have fucking over 10 million plays. Look at global top 50. Okay, sure. Let me do that right now. Global top 50 Spotify. Okay, let's take a look at it right now. I mean, by the way, also, number 1, number 5, number 8, and number 9. And number 12. So out of the top 12, he's 5 of them. Out of the top 10, he's 4 of them. I don't think that every person that's part of that is a nihilistic teenager, a Nazi, or a freak. Like, there's really not that many Nazis. I'm sorry, like, I know this might be a fantasy that some people like to tell themselves, but there really aren't that many Nazis. Like, I'm talking about actual Nazis. I'm not talking about somebody who wants to stop illegal immigration. I'm talking about a legitimate Nazi. Very, very rare.
Made to make them aware of Kanye's downward spiral into Nazi-adjacent rhetoric.
And everybody was criticizing this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing this. I know I did.
Now, imagery in the promotion of this record. The point is, there's no hope of
Where's the Nazi imagery? Where is it?
Any level-headed conversation
I want to
with
see
somebody
it.
who is like deep into the Kanye fandom at this point. People who literally think anything and everything he does is great and will write off any bit of dissent as just being biased and unfair to him, as if he's Jesus Christ and can do no wrong. So yeah, there's no convincing them, which I will say is also the case for people who have left the Kanye reservation over the past several years, because there are a fair share of people who are validly pissed off about everything Kanye's been saying and doing recently and feel like it's
really
totally...
like, because to me, the reason why I haven't listened to Kanye as much in the last 5 years that I did in the 5 years that was before that is because I just feel like the music hasn't been as good. Like, I listened to the gospel album once. I thought there were like a few good tracks on Black Skinhead. There was the one that came after that. It came out at the same time that Drake's album did. I don't even remember the name, but I listened to it a little bit. Donda. Yeah, Donda. There it is. I was like, this is okay. But like nobody's going to give a fuck about that in like 20 years. Nobody's going to care. Top 3 album? You think so? I didn't think so. I didn't think Donda was that good.
Beyond the pale, and even if this record was somehow good, what am I supposed to do? Tell the Jews in my audience, "Aw, come on, man, he didn't mean it. It's not so bad. He's just a little crazy, that's all." Especially since he's...
Nobody's expecting you to run defense for Kanye saying that he loves Hitler. Who the fuck thought that? You really think that do you really think that there are Jews in your audience that are that want you to tell them that, like, Kanye saying that he likes Nazis isn't that bad? Who the fuck thinks this? Nobody thinks this. That's insane.
Not doing anything to gain forgiveness. He is very apparently not sorry for anything he's been saying or doing. And the apologies he has given aren't worth a lick of shit, because he'll think nothing of saying Jesus Christ, Hitler.
Is still saying shit like Jesus Christ, Hitler, ye.
Or yay, sponsor that, not too long after. Now, there are some people who will say, "Anthony, you're being unfair here. Separate the art from the artist. Come on now. You can't separate this crap from the music because it's in the music. Look at..."
Crazy, bipolar, anti-Semite, and I'm still the king. I just thought I'd come and black out. Keep a few Jews on the staff now. How am I anti-Semitic? I'd fuck for Jewish bitch. I mean, to be fair, I think that this criticism that Anthony has right here is totally fucking fair. I think he's right. I think Anthony's totally right about this. Because, yeah, if you want to... No, they're garbage? No, but I don't think they're garbage. It's fucking satire, though? That's fine if it's satire. But, like, what I'm saying is that, like, this is now inside of the music. So you can't... He's right. That, like, you can say separate the art from the artist. Like, for example, like, you can like Cthulhu without being like a supporter of H.P. Lovecraft, or like think that, oh, the outer gods and the whole Cthulhu mythology is cool. But like H.P. Lovecraft was a fucking racist, big racist, right? So that's one thing. But it's not like Cthulhu is coming out and being like, actually, the smartest race is, and then he just goes on. No, he doesn't do that. And so I understand. I think Anthony makes a very good point about this. He does.
At the lyrics. Read these words. They have meaning, and they are saying things that are not good or normal. You would have to expect me to separate my brain from my skull if you think I'm just going to ignore it. I think this comment here pretty much sums things up. We don't care as long as the album is good. His personality and what he says doesn't matter to me. I only care about the music.
Well, yeah, that's the way a lot of people think. Like, do you really think that somebody... Like Anthony Fantano, the same as me, and the same as many other people on the internet who like to talk about what people on the internet should think, have very easy lives. In the grand scheme of things, we have very, very easy lives. We turn on a camera, we talk about a situation, we turn off the camera, and we make thousands of dollars. The reality is that most people in life have so many other problems they're pressing in their day-to-day that in investing emotional energy into what Kanye West said or didn't say, or what the lyrics to a song are or aren't, because yes, I think that it's, again, extremely fair for Anthony Fantano to say that how the fuck can you separate the art from the artist if the artist is putting these points into the art? He's right. He's right about that, and I think that's a great point that he has. However, we can also go through and look at all of the other hip-hop and all of the other rap that's talking about killing people, hurting women, degrading women, and everything else in between, and you'll see a lot of that stuff, and somehow that's supposed to all just be excused. I don't think so. Raping people, selling drugs. Yeah, this isn't so good. Whataboutism? Whataboutism is an excuse whenever you ask a person to have the same standards that they criticize other people with. I am absolutely using whataboutism. I'm saying, how the fuck are you going to hold one person to this standard, but not someone else? That's not whataboutism. That's common sense. Like, and also, again, you can have whatever standards that you want. There's no law that says that you can't be hypocritical. But there's a certain sense of, like, moral superiority that you lose whenever you have these obvious gaps in your logic. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have that opinion, but don't tell me that I have to have your opinion as well. You see what I'm saying? It's selective outrage. It is.
Penetrate this level of self-imposed ignorance. This person is not listening to Kanye. He's not listening to anything I or anyone has to say about Kanye. And this comment was posted after the album was released, so he's apparently not even listening to the content of the music that he supposedly cares so much about.
Well, why would he give a fuck about it? Why would he give a fuck about what Kanye said? He just wants to listen to a song. Like, I mean, I don't understand, like, how... Well, my point is, like, Anthony Fantano spends all the time on the internet, on Twitter. He's tweeting. I see him tweeting all the time. He makes videos every single day. He's been doing this the last 10 years, right? So this is like his life. Other people, this is not even on their radar. Like, they're not even aware of this even being a thing. And to just, like, to write off all of those people as if, like, this is some sort of, like, moral inconsistency or some sort of personal shortcoming that they're not willing to invest emotional energy into, and, you know, like, this controversy that doesn't affect them. I think it's narcissistic, because really, whenever you think about it, these are people who have incredibly complex lives that you don't know anything about. You don't understand anything about it. How can you possibly expect somebody else to pick up your fucking standard and to fight for your cause when, number one, your cause isn't even that fucking consistent because there's other people doing the same thing? And number two, the other big problem, I would say, is the fact that whenever you're talking about this stuff, you want people that work 40 hours, 50 hours a week. They have a kid, 2 kids, a wife. You want this person to like also now do research into the music that they're listening to and like make decisions based off of that? That's insane. That's crazy. Like, there's no way somebody is going to do that.
So this argument about, I only care about the music, can't possibly be true. Especially since the music, too, is shit. The song Paid is one of the most unintentionally hilarious tracks I think Kanye has ever put out. It's just a crappier version of Fade. Why wouldn't you just listen to Fade? You'd have to be delusional to think anything else, especially with this trash-ass verse from Ye. And Ty Dolla $ign on it is just amazing, saying that he's just here to get paid. At least he's honest. Then Back to Me with that Jay and Silent Bob chorus has to be one of the dumbest things I've heard on any Kanye album ever. I feel like I'm being punked. But naked, beautiful, big titty bitches don't just fly into the sky, you know. At least Freddie Gibbs somehow made it flow, but yeah, that dude is as good as he is at rapping. He cannot save this track. Then Hood Rat has maybe one of the most excruciatingly bad instrumentals on any Kanye
Well,
album.
I'm glad the review started. This is good. This is his opinion about the music. This is what people wanted to see. Because I personally think that Anthony Fantano has relatively good takes on music in a lot of cases. Like, I'm not saying I agree with everything he says, but it's like I'll listen to what he says about an album and I listen to it. I'm like, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
The mix is a mess, and God, those repetitions.
Yeah.
Heard rat, heard rat, heard rat, heard rat. I mean, I guess it kind of drowns out all the other stuff about the track, so that's kind of a silver lining. But almost none of that matters, because there is so little to praise with this record, and if Kanye's delusional fans are not hearing that this record is awful on its face as they just kind of listen to it by themselves, nothing I'm going to say is going to convince them. But if you really want a general assessment of this thing, it sounds like a slightly more finished Donda 2. Somehow Jesus is King had more songs on it that sounded more cohesive, well put together, which is saying something because that was previously Kanye's shortest, messiest, most unhinged and crappy record yet, and somehow this surpassed it. And at least in my mind, has achieved the status of being Kanye's worst album. And given that the sequel tends to be a step down from the original in Kanye's case most of the time, the rest of the Vultures series from this point is not looking good. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think that it's disappointing because, like, it's clear that he listened to the album. I just think people want to hear him talk about the album, not about how Kanye West is an asshole. I think everybody knows he's a stupid asshole. Everybody fucking like that. You go into that knowing that. I mean, damn. He streamed himself listening to the album on Twitch before dropping the video. He was malding for 2 hours. Yeah, well, he just didn't like the if he didn't like the album, that's up to him, right? That's his own. That's his right to have an opinion. Kanye is the only guy to get a 10 and unreviewable. Never in my 20 years of teaching. Anthony Fantano is a disappointed teacher. If I was calling my Duke versus Vulture, you would have given it a 6. That was a good album. It was the one with the red one, right? I think it was, yeah. The cover. And yeah, I mean, people are how many people dislike this video? Check the video dislike ratio. 45K. Yeah, I mean, that's not really a surprise. A lot of people will probably I think that people are generally fatigued by having content creators try to tell them what they are ethical and unethical for consuming. I think that that's just there's like a general fatigue from that, and like being patronized by a person who sits in their room and makes videos. I don't think that people really like seeing that. Like, yeah, whether it's me, I don't really like patronizing people as much. Like, I'll talk about things, sure, but I try not to tell people like that they're like wrong for liking or not liking something. I actually do try to actively do that as much as I can. Because I do think it's fatiguing, it's exhausting, it's like just, it attracts a group of people that I think is like super cringe, etc. GameCube was an exception. But yeah, overall, this subreddit's been put on private. It was a shit show last night. Yeah. 90% of the video is a dumb tangent, isn't relevant to the review. Is there a reason why you don't use the dislike extension? The reason why is that I think that dislikes aren't a good indicator. I actually, in a lot of cases, I wish that people could only see likes and dislikes after they watch a video. Because I really do, I think that there's like so much groupthink that happens that people already make up their mind whether the video is good or not before they watch it based off of the likes and dislikes. And so, like, I don't really care about seeing dislikes that much. Like, I think that you should be able to, and I think YouTube is stupid for getting rid of it. However, I don't necessarily think that that's any sort of, like, a indicator of anything that's meaningful. It's useful for tutorial videos. Yeah, it's useful for everything. And it's people's right to be able to dislike something, absolutely. But not the right, it's a constitutional right to have a YouTube, but it's their right to be able to express that. And I think that it's a good thing that YouTube allows that, even if it's hidden. But yeah. But guides will be useless then? Yeah, I know. I'm talking about a theoretical. I wouldn't actually make this a rule. I'm just talking about like a like, what's the word? Like an ideal. You know, like in my ideal world, this is what people would do. So, like, I mean, really, who gives a fuck? But that's just what I'm talking about. Utopia. Yeah, in my utopia. I think that if he had started out the video talking about this, I think that this video would have been a lot more well received. Because this is really his strongest argument. And I think this is a good argument. He's basically saying, like, you can't separate the art from the artist because the artist is putting it in their art. So, like, yeah, that's true. You know, Drop is so intelligent, even Destiny can't deal with them.
I would never trust Fantano talking about any topic outside of the very, very, very narrow purview of his music reviews. And even on the music reviews, I would never trust anything he says if it has anything to do with, like, a political... Watching him do that review of that J. Cole song towards No Name was one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my entire life. I think Fantano is one of the rare cases of a person whose mind is actually rotted on politics. I don't know if he's trying to bring himself back from, like, the...
Didn't Anthony Fantano do, like, collab with Sam Hyde back in the day? Or am I, like, imagining that in another universe?
Where he was friendly with Sam Hyde, and he's, like, on this, like, perpetual...
Okay.
Like self-cucking to, like, atone for his sins or some shit. But yeah, I would I'm not saying that he's wrong here. I don't know. I'm just saying that I would never trust a single thing Fantano says outside of him, like, crying, you know, during a sad music video or something. I would never trust